This is the ATEN CAMLIVE. Not to be confused with the other CAMLIVE website that shows up when you Google these. In fact, that one shows up first. Either way, these are HDMI capture devices. Specifically, this one lets you capture the inputs from your DSLR, whereas the CAMLIVE Plus has a pass-through built in so that you can capture stuff like your games console or PC. But are these as good as the name brand that you are probably more aware of? Elgato and their CamLink and things like their HT60s. Well, let's have a look and have a play with these and find out. Of course, first, if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more videos like this one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Let me start by running you through what these things can and can't do. This is the standard CamLive. This, much like Elgato's CamLink, offers a single USB connection to your PC and a single HDMI port, which is an HDMI input, which lets you capture something like your DSLR camera and use it as a webcam. This is a UVC device, which means it basically just plugs in and works without any drivers and acts just like a standard webcam would. The standard CamLive lets you record up to 1080p 60 FPS. You can do a number of lower resolutions as well, but there isn't any 1440p or, probably more importantly for this type of device, 4K support. That's not supported in terms of recording. The CamLive Plus is a little different. This is a more standalone unit in that you don't have any cables directly attached. It has a USB-C port that you can connect either the Type-C to Type-C cable or Type-A to Type-C cable that both come in the box to your host computer to do your recording. You do also have another Type-C port for USB PD power delivery, which is nice, especially for higher power devices. And then on the other side, you have two HDMI ports. One of them is the input, and one of them is an output for pass-through. So if you wanted to use this to, say, record a games console, you can do that just fine. It supports up to a 4K 60 stream being passed through, but only supports up to 1080p recording. I'm not sure whether it does the downsampling on this itself, I assume it does, but that is a bit of a limitation for this device. Now sadly, despite it supporting a 4K 60 stream as a pass-through and recording at 1080 60, it doesn't seem to support 1440p in any regard, nor high refresh rates. So if you want to record your 1440p 144Hz monitor and the gameplay on it, you're going to need to either use software like you would normally use in OBS or Streamlabs OBS or something like that, or you're going to need to use something like Elgato's new 4K 60 Pro Mark II, which is a PCIe add-in card and costs a lot more than one of these. So that's what these both can and can't do. Let's take a look at using the CamLive with my camera, and then I'll also do some recording with some gameplay with the CamLive Plus and recording the screen as well. Right, so I've got it set up where the my GH5 is outputting a clean 1080p feed to the standard CamLive, which is connected to this laptop. There is a little bit of input lag, as I can see on the screen. Of course, you can't. And for reference, I'm using this Blue Yeti microphone as my audio device. I could use the camera. It does deliver any audio source that your camera has over HDMI just fine. The only reason that I'm not using that is because my camera is a million miles away and the built-in microphone isn't great anyway. I could plug in a mic to the mic in port on my camera and that would work as well. Or of course, because the audio sync, as you can hopefully see, is pretty good, I haven't adjusted anything manually, you can use any standard streaming microphone or whatever configuration you want to use. There are a couple of tweaks that you might need to make when setting one of these CamLives up with a camera. In my case, with my Panasonic GH5 outputting 1080p 420 8-bit, I had to change the color space. By default, OBS wants to use Rec 709, but if I switch to Rec 709, you'll see the difference. It's a little oversaturated and the color temperature is a lot warmer than the camera is actually recording, whereas if I switch it to 601, which is the standard definition color space, which is a little bit less full, I get a much more accurate picture of what the camera is seeing. One other thing you'll need to check is if you notice the blockiness that's currently happening, especially around my face, if you notice that in your recordings, what's happening is that, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the included USB-C to A adapter that comes in the box, well, the USB-C port is apparently plugged in the wrong way around. I'm not entirely sure how that can physically happen because a USB-C port, or the pinouts, is exactly mirrored on either side, so in theory, no matter which way you switch it around, it should work and all of the different pins should be commoned together. But maybe in their adapters they've only used one side of pins, and so when you're using direct USB-C it doesn't matter, but with an adapter it does. I'm not entirely sure why, but what's happening here is that it's running in USB 2 mode rather than in USB 3.1 mode, so you only have 480 megabits per second of bandwidth versus I think 5 gigabits per second bandwidth. Pretty big difference. So if you see this sort of blockiness, switch around your USB-C port and it worked just fine. Right, so I now have it set up so that the CAMLIVE is still recording me and my camera, but I now have the CAMLIVE Plus recording this screen as well. In terms of the gameplay experience, I'm playing a bit of CSGO. This is plenty fine. It is at 1080p at 60Hz instead of the 1440p 140Hz that the monitor can do, but other than that, there's no added input lag. It's still a plenty fine experience, just as you would have if you're playing, natively essentially without the box in the middle. And so, yeah, it's fine. One thing to note is that I'm seeing a hell of a lot of tearing, which obviously with the pass-through being a consistent 1080p 60 rather than, say, FreeSync is a bit of a downgrade in playing experience as well. But generally speaking, it's fine, especially for stuff like consoles. I think it'll work pretty well, and obviously with PCs you do have some other options, including software recording, if you want a bit of a better experience anyway. Come on, nope, couldn't get him. And I couldn't get him either. Where's the other guy? Run! Run, Forrest! No, come on. Ah, we still won. It's fine. Cool. To wrap this up then, if you're already set on buying one of these and you're watching this review to help confirm that you're making a good choice and that they work as intended, then you can rest assured that they do. You're going to have a reasonable time with them, and beyond the minor USB and color space quirks, they're perfectly fine. But if you're surveying your options, you should probably know that there are many of these USB capture or HDMI capture dongle sticks available on Amazon for as little as £15, and in theory offer very similar functionality. In fact, a lot of them still offer 1080p, even 60 FPS, and they offer a wide variety of different things, and so you might be better off getting one of those. But if you're willing to spend the money buying a higher end or a brand name version, then you might also be better off paying the little bit extra and getting the CamLink 4K, as you're going to get the name brand version and of course 4K support too. If, however, you're planning on buying something like the CAMLIVE Plus, then especially if you're the sort of person, or it's a sort of business purchase where you're going to be business expensing it anyway, then you might want to consider buying something like the Elgato, I think it's 4K 60S Plus. It's almost double the price, in fact I think it is double the price of this CAMLIVE Plus, but it supports 4K 60 recording and can even record direct to an SD card as well. And when you're in that sort of market and it's a business expense, price matters a little bit less anyway. So these are plenty fine, if probably a bit expensive for not being a name brand device. They work fine, do have a few quirks, but overall, not too bad. Of course, those are my thoughts, and I would love to hear yours in the comments down below. Is this something you'd pick up, or would you go with the cheaper, like 15 quid on Amazon type version instead, or would you go for a more brand name approach and spend a touch more? I'd love to hear your thoughts in those comments down below. Now I'm going to leave links to both of these in the description down below, and the Elgato one and the cheap set of options you can look at. All of those will be linked in the description below. Those are Amazon affiliate links that will take you to your local Amazon store. We can see pricing when and where you watch this, because of course it can and does vary. Otherwise, there is a whole load of other links in the description you can check out, from merch or hoodies or t-shirts like this one, or a load of other cool designs. There's Patreon for access to our Money Men Discord chat and sponsor-free videos, and of course you support me directly too. And there's a load of other affiliate links down there as well you can check out, from Overclocks UK to VPN options, whole lot of stuff. Feel free to take a look. Otherwise, I'm going to leave some more videos on the end cards for you to check out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments down below, and I'll also catch you all in the next video.